going on YouTube? Today we're going to talk about how you can make millions of gold selling sets, any update, anytime, any event, any place. This is a question that gets asked to me all the time. What should I be selling right now? How much should I sell X for? How do I know what I should be selling? Where can I go to farm it? And we're going to do the most comprehensive answers to all those questions that I can today. And I think the way in which I do it will surprise a lot of people. I think that some people think that I have the ability to look at a set and go, ah, yes, this set will sell for 8,000 gold for its legs if it's this trait. The answer is much more vague, but once you know the method that a lot of us use, it'll make a lot more sense. So, for example, what I have done, and I have searched this ESO set is broken. Why have I searched this key term? Because a lot of players will look up key terms like this into YouTube, and you'll find videos with thousands of views. I've actually even done a more inclusive search, and I've switched this to this month. Why have I done this month? Well, if I were to switch this to this year, I would actually be shown a bunch of sets that have been nerfed. Hrothgar, Dark Convergence, both nerfed. Not that they can't be used, but this gives us more comprehensive, up-to-date sets that I know will be going through to Sean. So I have pre-watched this video in preparation for this video, and I have seen that they're talking about Kind Master's armor and weapons, and it being super popular for PvP. Now, why PvP? Because obviously there's two ways we could do this. We could look at selling endgame PvE sets and PvP sets. I have noticed that when I sell items, that PvP sets sell faster and usually sell for more gold, usually. There are discrepancies, but because PvE usually requires an endgame that requires more of trials gears, it requires more specific armor pieces, like you have to use this ring and you have to use this as a staff with this specific enchantment. Much more difficult to sell to, whereas PvP, more traits are valuable. More people are much more experimenting with PvP sets, whereas PvE, people generally look to specific people to say, this is the end game, and then we say, okay, I'm going to copy this build, where there's much more variability in PvP. So I pre-watched this video, by the way, Horcrux, amazing YouTuber. Always go to him if you have ideas for one of theory craft for different sets. In fact, you could even use this as a whole basis for, oh my gosh, I'm going to look to see and just copy and look to see what's selling on here and or what he's using, because I know that his 6.7K subscribers will be looking at it and using his builds and to sell. So I have looked at Kind Masters, and if we were to scroll down, we're going to notice interesting about that. I like to point people. So this set does not look remarkable in what it's selling for. You see, it sells, decent amounts, right? It's selling for a couple thousand for each piece. There's a big range, though. Big range. Let's talk about why there's that range very briefly. This is a brand new set that came out in the Deadlands DLC. It's an Overland set. Now, what makes this set very different from the other sets is look at the sales records. This is using the Tamriels savings app, so this goes off Xbox sales. If I were to scroll up, look at these. The sales recorded on this set drops. Now, this is not every set that's being sold. Tamriels Savings Depot lads do the best they can to get every sale. Obviously, this is just a small fraction, but we're comparing dozens to over 100 sales to a handful of sales. So this set is clearly selling. So you started on YouTube, you found a set. Say this is a year from now, you're watching this going, okay, this set, the A set, is selling, or is popular. This videos with 100,000 views, 10,000 views. People are experimenting with this set. Then you go over to your price checking app and you see, okay, it's selling for a decent chunk of money and there's a high sale volume. Value does not always mean that it is going to be easy for you to resell. Because, for example, personally, for Deshaun traders, 30 slots, 120 items. I'm more so thinking, how can I fill all 120 of those items than, oh, I got one item and it's going to sell for 200 and it's going to take me 2 weeks. If I can fill up of just all of the different pieces. I'd love to do that more than anything. And you can also do this too. So to see what's selling, there's nothing wrong with going down and saying, okay, Pariah is still pretty popular. I could farm that. I could go up and I could see Necrons has still sales, and I could go up and see, ooh, Mother Sorrow is still pretty king. You can always use these tools also as just a generic resource too. But why I caution people away from doing this as a flat search is a lot of these sets have been selling for a while. Like if you were to go to Deshaun and Mother's Sorrow, you're gonna have a lot more competition. When I was selling the Kindmaster set in Deshaun, there was no competition. I sold a shield there for 200K, and I just went, all right, nobody is selling this shield. I'm just gonna list it for 200K because it looks like a set that somebody might need a shield with, and it's sold. So that's where I think that there is a lot of gambling involved with newer sets, but gambling usually makes you money as the user. And that really requires you to be looking at the newest patch. Because Mother Sorrow will always be good. It will always be a decent set to sell, but there's always new sets to sell too. And I think that that's where I think that this is where I think research could be helpful. For those of you wondering, um, it's also pretty decent right now. Deadly Strike and War Maiden, I've also seen in a couple other videos. You could also look those up here too. If I were to scroll down to work, unfortunately my control key does not work on this MacBook. So we're just scroll down like a peasant. If I were to look up War Maiden, you would see that it is selling for an extremely high volume. Again, it's another set that is having a new reconnaissance in this, or renaissance in this newest patch. It's been doing really well. It's gaining in popularity again, and it's a base game set. So then finally, the thing that I think that a lot of people also struggle with understanding is, so now I know what I need to farm. Hopefully it's an overland set. That's what I usually try to gear people towards. Watch these videos, find an overland set. You can obviously sell dungeon runs. If you need that explained, just put it in a comment below and I'll explain it to you. I want to get into it now because this video will go on for a long time. So what do you do next? And my suggestion to you is I did this with the Stygian set. The Stygian set, for those of you who don't know, is a Cold Harbor set. I was unable to find any sort of consistent chest route, delve route, public dungeon route. So what I did is I just 100% completed the whole zone just looking for areas, and I would just run through delves until I found delves that had specific areas, looted all the chests there, and then I would also look in guild traders for cheap treasure maps in that area. And that's how I was able to flip the whole Stygian set into something more. Now, if you're trying to make this set like, your bitch, and you're trying to be like, I'm going to corner the market on Stygian, then you might want to find a more specific route. But I was able to get 120 slots of Stygian, day of effort, spending a couple hundred gold on treasure maps, spending the day running around through delves, just getting all the sky shards and looking for different chest areas and whatnot. It's really that simple. War Main, there's a decent route that I've seen people run in the public dungeon, but this is just another example. One day War Main won't be as popular again. One day Deadly Strike won't be as popular again. Deadly Strike is something you convert with AP people. That's how I made my first millions of gold, was converting AP to Deadly Strike. But people, if they ask me and they say, should I do that right now? Should I, trade a million gold for AP, into Deadly Strike? I say, well, you have to look at the meta, and this is how you do that. And another way, just as a final thought, obviously there's really popular, people also like Outcast, where you can look. These are the top builds that they have. And you can scroll on down. Obviously, these are going to be difficult, but Mother Sorrow, the Willpower. Also, nothing wrong with crafting sets, by the way, and selling those too. You can see all of these. You can see that there's some that are overland, some that are trial, some that are craftable. So there's a variety, and that's where I think that this is what you need to do if you're looking to get into the market of ESO. And this is where I think that it's always going to change, but as long as you know where to look, you can go back in any patch, any update, and you can say, this set is going to sell, and this set is going to sell for this varied amount. Find that amount, look at here on your spreadsheets or your data. This is the Tamriels Savings Depot. I will try to link as many of the other I have for bots for other sets below. But again, you know, likely, like if you're selling what I was selling, there's not going to be a price, and it's going to be on you to put an intrinsic value on that item. And my suggestion is aim high. If it bounces out of your guild trader, you know, it is what it is. You know, you've got lower ticket items, obviously. If you got like pants, belts, shoes, you know, sell them cheaply. And then your higher ticket items, weapons, usually, you know, ask for a little more. And if you get them, you get it. If not, you relist it for slightly lower each time. But that kind of wraps up my thoughts on how you can find any set, anytime in ESO, any patch to make millions of gold. Again, this is what I do. And if you ever want to leave a comment in the comment below and you just want to ask me, you're like, look, I watched the video, or even if you don't, or even if you dislike it, although you won't be able to see that anymore because YouTube is trying to protect us small creators. I feel so protected, even though I can still see it, so I don't know how that helps. But you can ask, and I'll answer, and I'll say, look, this is what I'm selling at this point, because I don't keep it as secret information. I mean, you could always just go to Xbox, go to the traders that I'm in, and see my listings anyway, so it's not like it's a top secret anyhow, but it's always available, and I always want to do what I can to help new players, and that's what this guide is for, and that's why I made this guide for you guys. So if you have any questions, again, comments below, but if not, guys, I'll see you in the next one. All right.
You better remember to like and subscribe to Jake Clips. Or you should. I might have to pluck your eyes if you don't. Or, better yet, I'll skip rope with your entrails. Do it now. Subscribe. Ta-ta. Off with you.